All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know I always start with a piece of scripture, so let me get into it. Scripture comes from Psalms 83, and it says, So persecute them with your tempest and make them afraid with your storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek your name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that you, whose name alone is I am that I am, or Jehovah, are the most high over all the earth. And this is with respect to the people who said they have taken crafty counsel against your people. All right. Retribution. As you sow, you reap. But let it be known, if you are someone who changes from your ways, you will reap less. You'll still have to reap the consequences of your previous actions, but you reap less because you sow good. So if you sow good, you reap good. If you sow bad, you reap bad. That's just the way how things go. It's every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Let's get into what we're going to discuss today, which is the question and answer for insight. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about where insight just means to see something, to understand something. If we look at the DCEU, they deal with this theme a bit, quite a bit. And sometimes it's actually vocalized. For instance, in Man of Steel, when young Clark, he was now getting these additional powers, and he was not able to focus them, and he was in a panic. His mother, Martha Kent, tried to get him to focus on her voice. She said, "Pretend it's an island. Can you see it?" And then the young Clark says, "I see it." And she says, "Well, swim to it, honey." And we see also that concept in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, where Clark is speaking to Bruce Wayne, and he's talking about the atrocities that the Batman has done in Gotham, and how some people who are law-abiding citizens, they live in fear. He calls them good people. And it's interesting when Bruce says, "Don't believe everything you hear, son," Clark says, "I've seen it." And I thought to put that there as a follow-up to the question Martha Kent said, to show you that the values that Clark has that were printed into him by his Earth parents actually had to do with him choosing, actually had to do with insight. So that what Clark actually responds in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice shows his moral fabric, which was set up by his parents, who had him choose. He would see how they acted by example, but then it's choice and insight which allows Clark to be the way he is. So Clark actually chooses to be that person he is. And the insight continues onwards. In Wonder Woman, we have to skip Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad has insight in it, of course, but and people trying to get them to win over to their side, but they never really vocalize it. But in Wonder Woman, Ares tries to convince Diana that human beings are vile, they're ugly, and should be removed. And he says to her, "But I knew if only you could see what the other gods could not, that the world without humans could be a paradise, that you join us." And of course Diana doesn't agree initially, and so Ares has to fight her. And in so doing, Steve Trevor dies, and Diana loses it, and she attacks the enemy, and she is beating them up and killing them and doing all kinds of things. And so as a result of Ares seeing that she's ticked off, she's angry, she's frustrated, and he realizes she's hurt by what has happened to Steve because of things that mankind has been doing, he says, "Yes, Diana, take them all. Finally you see. Mankind did this, not me. They are ugly, weak." And he goes on, right? And Ares is trying to encourage her later on to kill Dr. Poison. And the point is that Ares realizes that Diana can now identify with what he was saying about mankind. And so first he pitches to her so that she would be convinced, and then next he doesn't have to convince her anymore because she sees what he's seeing. Insight, the question, the answer. And then we also see that in Justice League, where Steppenwolf is trying to convince Cyborg or let Cyborg see that he actually will eventually be a creature of chaos because he was produced by the Mother Box. And at the end of the movie, where Cyborg is trying to hack into the Mother Box and separate the three Mother Boxes, when Steppenwolf pulls him away from the Mother Box and he's got him in his hands, he says, "Now do you see it? That is, now do you see that you're a creature of chaos? Now do you see the power of the Mother Boxes?" And the Cyborg still persists in trying to separate the Mother Boxes, which is why Steppenwolf separates Cyborg. He literally rips Cyborg in half. And Cyborg's trying to separate the Mother Boxes. Steppenwolf decides to separate Cyborg. Okay? I guess you see the mirror image there. And then after he drops him down on the ground, he knows that the League can't do anything to him and that he's having his way. He says, "You all are too weak to see the truth." And the truth, obviously, is that the Mother Boxes is power, and power is the only law. And so I just find it interesting that the question is pitched and then it's answered. And that is to see, have the insight to see. And what do you do after that? And it's interesting that the response by Steppenwolf is absolutely the opposite of the response by Ares. Ares is happy that Diana sees what he's seeing. She doesn't stay in that mindset that Ares has. Whereas with Steppenwolf, Cyborg sees what Steppenwolf is talking about, but he persists in the direction. He never once gives in so that Steppenwolf could say, "Well, okay, there you go. Finally, you're seeing what I'm seeing, Cyborg." That moment never comes, and so Steppenwolf has to split Cyborg in half, and he's telling all of the League, "You're just too weak to see the truth." All right, because nobody can identify with what he is. He's saying. This is what he feels. So I just thought this was very interesting, and I thought I would share with you guys on Facebook. It should be posted up before this video comes up on YouTube. But for you guys on YouTube, I just wanted to share this meme with you. And always, you get extra details with the meme. You guys have a great